It is time to learn some advanced rules for Warhammer 40k 8th edition. I am Brad, your host for this evening for Wartorn Creative, and I have my two special guests that you've never seen before, Gavin and Jared.
Howdy!
Hi. Today we're going to start off with some terrain, cover, and keywords.
This was really
Tell me about this.
It's very mellow.
Yeah, I don't know which one I like, the manic or the really, really chill one. Well, why don't you start us off?
Okay. So we're just going to cover the cities of death.
We're going to cover it.
We're going to cover it.
I had to point that out because nobody else caught
You
it.
just walk. We're going to cover the cities of death article because it also talks about terrain for a bit and how certain units benefit from that.
But generally, what the advanced rules are.
Yeah, the advanced rules. Well, let's just go over really quick. Terrain will interact with certain units with certain keywords. They've made that very apparent, and they've actually listed out 3 of them: infantry, monster vehicles, and I'm looping those 2 together for obvious reasons, and flyers.
Right.
For infantry, they just have to be in the terrain to fully benefit and get the cover, or whatever rules and traits that they will have, probably in Cities of Death. Granted, in 7th edition, a lot of the terrain had rules.
And no one used it.
No one used them.
So it may be on a terrain-by-terrain basis, so you know, rather than having to roll for random.
Yes.
So that may make things...
Actually,
or I guess even...
no, it's going to be the...
It's probably going to be random and very similar to Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, it's going to be very... I feel like it might end up being very similar to Age of Sigmar.
No way, nothing similar to Age of Sigmar, guys.
Oh, shit.
Not in 8th edition.
Oh, man. What's a beta test? And so... I'm speculating that terrain is going to have this like random if they go the way of Age of Sigmar, where you'd randomly generate traits of these terrain pieces on the board.
Okay.
Where they would have, this is pure speculation, it's not in the article.
It's okay, I know nothing, so inform me.
Fantastic. So in Age of Sigmar, when you set up your terrain, as per the rules of deployment, board setup and stuff, you would roll a 2d6 and consult a chart, or was it just, no, it was just a d6.
D6, yeah.
Just d6.
And then they have various things, like some of them make spell casting a little easier, some of them increase, I mean, all of them increase
Some
cover.
of them increased your leadership or bravery in this case, or decreased it. Some of it
was like cursed.
Yeah, cursed, or modified your ability to hurt other people.
And then there are times where you get discombobbled.
Yeah,
that happened to me in my game
befuddled.
against you. That was
3 whole
terrible.
turns.
What is it, rolling a 1?
Yeah, it was for rolling.
You roll a 1 and then you just can't do
You're
anything.
befuddled, but if you roll a 2+, you're re-rolling wounds.
Yeah, I just rolled that 1. It was really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't surprise anybody.
Yeah, me rolling 1s, right. Yeah, I know.
But
How do you think I lost those 3 nights?
anyways, moving forward, the one on the article, they specifies that infantry will be able to fully utilize terrain in terms of gaining the cover benefits.
So if they're in cover, they get 1 to their modifier.
Yeah,
And then if they don't move, basically you're just chilling.
Well, in the Cities of Death,
That's only in the Cities of Death.
If they chill in that terrain in the Cities of Death, don't worry, we're gonna together.
Yeah, we're melding it together.
So that's essentially everything we've gone over so far has not been in advanced rules. A part of the core rule set, that's the terrain rule set.
Yes.
This is advanced rules, though.
So yeah, getting into the advanced rules. So this is something.
Rewind.
So we get those.
Hold on, we're
know, I'm
addressing
just kidding.
things.
Just go.
No, I am going.
God.
Bear with me. In Cities of Death, if we ever pursue these rules, which you likely will for narrative play.
So there's three that they mentioned: Cities of Death, Stronghold Assault, and what is it? Skies of Death. Death from the Sky. That's it. Lots of death.
You know, the one that we didn't ever use.
Yeah, but
Ever.
I imagine they're
We
probably
tried it
doing
once,
some
and
fine tuning. Hopefully, Hopefully. That was real. I just remember the flyer phase was really bad.
Yeah.
So
It was super bad.
So with Cities of Death,
We're on a tangent.
what's the cool shit?
So the cool shit is if you're using the City of Death rules, if you're infantry and you're in cover and you're just chilling there holding that position, you're getting bunkered and dug in, so that you get. Hold on.
I know. It takes. You gotta count to 10.
You get a 2+
Hurry
armor
up.
save, and then if you throw a grenade, holy crap, you get the full 6 on the hits. Which, by the way, reveal coverage on the rules for grenades.
Oh no, you just found out there's a grenade at your feet.
Yeah, I know. I took all 6 hits.
Luckily, he's got 8 wounds, so he's fine.
I'm okay.
Damn.
Oh, geez, stat lines for everybody. Yeah. But no, it's when you throw a grenade, it's D6. But if it's done into terrains in City of Death, you get the full 6 shots. So the maximum effect of that grenade.
Basically, because you're in a confined environment,
Yep.
and boom, you go boom.
You're in the foxhole, and somebody threw a grenade in that foxhole.
Next cool thing.
Next cool thing, they've clarified that vehicles monsters now have to fully rely on obscurement. We saw this a little bit with, well, we've always seen this with vehicles, always. And
we don't know how it's going, if it's going to change at all, if it's going to be
and we've always seen this
simplified.
with like gargantuan creatures, you know,
Right.
because like you no longer you had that Wraith Knight just towing some cover and getting the cover save. Now you have to rely on obscurement for even just monstrous creatures.
Like
Right.
fully.
Yeah.
Can't see anything.
Well, no, I can't say it. That's line of sight blocking. You want to? I'm going to say like maybe 25%, as was standard for 7th edition for
Okay.
vehicles.
So I could stick my hand out as a Wraith Knight, be waving hello, and still. Be
Well, I
looking.
don't know if Wraith Knights, if they could be determined as a very large.
Oh no.
Yeah, we don't know how that's
Yeah.
gonna
Oh, no.
keywords and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Behemoths
keywords
and
are very-
stuff like
yeah,
that
yeah.
in Age of Sigmar had
Very particular.
specific rules and
But now, moving forward, they also said flyers will be able to like jump units, anything that could fly.
Oh, this is my favorite.
We'll be able to hop from rooftop to
How
rooftop
cool is that?
and just scale buildings.
like-
Well,
without
remember,
Fucking Spider-Man.
we have an awesome set of, unfortunately, currently unpainted, but like city buildings that would be great to just hop across.
Yeah, and
Which
it
means
seems
I should paint them.
I'm assuming
probably should.
that probably just means no like they're not being inhibited in any way, and there's no dangerous terrain tests because they're just flyers and they're lightly using their agility and.
So it sounds like to me like we don't have to worry about that rolling a 1 and just like eating it on
Yeah.
the land.
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
jump
The
up.
submarine's not gonna like jump and then like break his ankle on landing or something.
Guys, please just go on without
So
me.
that's
Yeah.
the stuff up high. Now it's about the stuff below.
The stuff below, so they introduced a really cool stratagem that I kind of liked, where it was it's some deployment manipulation, where you're
Oh
spending.
yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, it's your.
Especially if you
your-
play Gene Stealer cults.
Yes, I mean if Gene Stealer cults don't have that already.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. That's true.
But for any unit in Cities of Death, you take your little incursion, like flanking force that you want to set to the side, and be like, all right, I'm going to bring these guys up, and they're going to pop up somewhere in the streets.
And this is a stratagem, right? You have to spend command points. to
2
be able to do
CP
this.
at the very beginning, and then because you just hold them to the side, and then they're going to pop up within outside of 9 inches of an opponent.
That's pretty solid.
And
Which
not
is-
in terrain.
Which is almost the exact same rule that we saw from the Tigran. Is that what it was?
yeah, the Trigon. The
Trigon,
similar
yeah.
behavior, but you're spending points.
Right.
And there's some
actually,
other
we'll
restrictions.
go over this in a few other videos, but it seems like we're seeing a pattern here with that 9-inch, and that's straight from Sigmar.
Mm-hmm. No scatter.
Plays no scatter, 9 inches. It plays really well, honestly, because it's hard. It's a hard charge to make without something to be able to re-roll your charge distance or anything like that, or have something that bonuses your charge distance. So it's going to be really,
Again,
really
there's
cool.
Still that conundrum about the 9 inches, you know, and the 1 inch and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So technically, it could be 8 inches, but someone might be a power gamer and tell you no. We'll see that.
It's more than, so like even if you just a minuscule nanometer.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yes, I know. It's silly. I'd 4-up it just to be done with the argument.
So buildings.
But, yes.
Stronghold assault. What's
Yeah.
next?
So when you're fighting in cities, there's buildings.
We play with a ton of them, actually.
Yeah.
We do.
We play with a ton of them, but we don't actually use them as buildings.
No, we don't. No, they're all ruins, and that's it.
So, they behave much the same. I'm assuming they behave much the same way in terms of like what they provide, like you being able to be inside them, have the weapon loadouts and everything outside of them being adjusted for strength and range.
I imagine the multi-floor thing is going to be very similar to how
Yes.
it was simplified for 7th edition, where you shoot at something, doesn't matter what floor it's on,
Yep.
everything's going to be able to take damage.
But now it comes to the question: is
Yeah,
they
we
didn't
found out about that the fun way for me.
Yeah, that was fun.
they didn't talk about building damage tables, so that's probably gone.
Yeah,
Like
it-
shooting the buildings to destroy
Yeah,
them?
so-
Who's going to literally do that, though? Come on.
I mean, I think everyone now, because buildings have the same rules as vehicles as is infantry. So they have toughness, wounds, everything like that.
Yeah, they actually
And what we
specified.
saw with vehicles, which we know, is that when a vehicle gets down to its last wound, if it has things inside of it, they have to disembark, an emergency disembark, and then you roll a dice for every character, or I guess model, not character, in that unit. If you roll a 1, that model is dead.
Super dead.
Like, doesn't take a wound, it's just dead.
So you think that they can't see the people in the building, they're just going to shoot at the building and try to collapse it?
Yeah, because a lot of people would want to put the nice juicy bits inside, which is like, a Havoc squad or a Devastator squad, just firing out of it, or even a command squad, I think, if they can abuse that. And any like units of interest that you want to deal with. Plus, buildings bring a lot of firepower. Like in most
especially when you pay for a fortification.
Yeah, like firestorm redoubts and the like.
So how are you going to know just like all the normal buildings and seeing around the table what all the
So this will be part of your detachment.
Yeah. So if unless you've paid for it, it's just a ruin, right? So there's the building doesn't have any.
Now
I thought you were talking about like every single building on the table.
No.
Like,
there's specific ones. There's very specific structures that they'll have
good
listed.
thing I needed clarification because I'm sure I'm not the only stupid one.
But I'm not gonna counter that point. We're just gonna roll on forward. But the buildings themselves, they actually talked about their stats, which is going to be like toughness 10, over a dozen wounds, and a 3-up armor save, which is pretty standard for all of our vehicles.
Okay.
And buildings were treated like vehicles in 7th, so they're going to go the same way.
Right.
Except they all can't move except for Tau.
Yeah. Which is actually funny. In that article, they were like, except for some, and then they hyperlinked to the Tide Wall. It's like, hey, you want to get that? Wink, wink.
Go get them.
Get your wallet out.
Wink, wink. That's like every one of the required Astra Militarum readings.
Yeah.
They just everything links to something. It's like, hey, buy it.
Yeah. But to further advance those rules, they've introduced more. They just love these stratagems. Here's more stratagems, and they put out these ones. Correct? No, not these. These? Where did it go?
It's on the sideways page.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
On the sideways page.
So it sounds like we're going to get specific stratagems for different game modes, which gets me really excited because I know anyone who's played to death out of Maelstrom of War and Eternal War missions, it can get a little tried, right? Like even in our last game when we rolled off for game time, it was like, oh, do we have to play that one? I've literally played that game to like the past 2 games. So the ability to change things out has got me really excited.
Yeah, and stratagem.
So you got sappers and escape hatch.
Yeah, you have they presented 2.
Do you know what a sapper is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, someone who eats sap. Duh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
or just a guy who's always just the saddest sap in the world.
Yeah.
But no, it's a saboteur.
Yeah.
In this case, we have 2. We have 1 offensive one and 1 defensive one. It's very clever, attacker and defender stratagems, and they're each 1 CP. For the sappers, is used just before one of your units fights a bunker or fortress. You can add 1 to all wound rolls made for that unit that target the bunker or fortress in this fight phase. Now that's interesting because there's more keywords again, bunker and fortress.
Yeah.
So there's probably there's obviously going to be a discernible difference on what kind of rules they have or what they can benefit from.
Yeah, it's probably going to have something to do with different levels of how many people can be in them. Can someone stand on the top? Do they benefit from the rules? It'll be interesting to see what we get from there.
Yep.
How many people can shoot?
But being able to add 1 to all wound rolls is fantastic because, as we've seen with the wound chart in strength versus toughness, a lot of things in this world are either going to be hurting, especially strength 10.
Yeah.
A lot of weapons are going to be that are strength 6 and above are going to be wounding it on 5s.
Yeah.
But if you have the sappers, you're wounding it on 4s.
4s, much more palatable, honestly. Yes. And we've seen just from the teased stat changes that buildings are mostly going to be toughness 10.
Yes.
And have a dozen or more wounds with a 3-up armor save. So that sapper, really, really useful, as you said. I love this escape hatch. This was in Cities of Death and Stronghold Assault. It was in one of those game types.
Wasn't that just something?
Planetary Assault, I think.
Wasn't that just
for
something
the defenders? It was just something you could purchase for points, I believe, as an upgrade to one of your fortifications, where you could get out. They changed the rules a little. But you see here that when a building gets destroyed, so this is something I screwed up earlier because I said on a roll of 1, just like a vehicle, but that's not the case. Yeah, it's at a roll of 1, 2, or 3 when your vehicle or when the building is destroyed, you're killed on a 1, 2, or 3. So unless you roll 4 up, your dudes die. And that's rough. Not everyone can be Ezekiel Abaddon or Garviel Loken.
Yeah, getting stepped on by
And
a
having
titan.
buildings collapse on them, and they're
Yeah.
just like, cool, we're good for the second book.
Yeah, see, but, yeah, no, that gives us our information that we need for how vehicles behave when it collapses and people inside.
Right.
It's a 4-up roll or you're removed.
Yeah. And
So
then that helps
hiding
you.
characters inside of buildings is dangerous.
Dangerous.
You need to get out. Once you start seeing that building starts coming apart, that character better get out of there immediately. Well, guys, I think that actually covers everything we wanted to say for advanced rules. We covered a lot here, so hopefully you managed to absorb it all. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments, or you're excited as we are about these different ways to play with advanced rules. Be
Are you
sure to
gonna
like,
jump from buildings or come in from the sewers? That's what I want to know.
All right. Well, I'm
think
excited about
I think I'm a building jumper.
dropping in from orbit with things, and then, dude, there's gonna be some
That's
real
not one of the
cinematic
options.
kind of things.
Are you a sewer rat? What or a what's a building jumper name? They didn't give us a name.
All right. While he thinks of that, be sure to like, comment, and
Building
subscribe,
jumpers.
and we'll see you guys in the next video.
I think I'm a
Jumping
building jumper.
rats.
You can cut that.